Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts, and today I'm going to dig into this amazing excavator from RC4WD. This is the Earthdigger 360L. It is a huge, incredibly impressive machine. Now, I've seen lots of videos of this thing digging in the dirt, but I haven't really seen a lot of videos where people dig into the guts of it, and that's what I'm going to do today. I have a great customer who has run excavators. He owns an excavator company and just done it all his life. And he ordered this and wanted me to set it up so that it operated exactly, the controls operate exactly like his real excavator. He wanted me to add lights to it. You can see the lights. He wants me to add sound to it and just kind of check through and make sure it works great. Amazing machine. It weighs about 60 pounds. With my recovering broken thumb, it's hard for me even just to move it around the table. But wow, you guys that watch my channel know I do not impress easily. I'm impressed. Okay, this thing is really amazing. Also, I've got the bulldozer. We'll be doing that in a couple weeks. But anyway, today it's Earthdigger 360L, and let's dig into this thing. Let's get started. As I start this series on the Earthdigger Excavator from RC4WD, I just want to show the box real quick. I'm not going to do an unboxing because it's so heavy. It's going to take me and my wife both to get it out of the box, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the box, get it on the bench. But the box is impressive. It is like 75 pounds and super nicely packed. I'll show you the packing when I pull it out. So I'm going to get this thing out of the box and we'll take a look at it. It is stretching the limits of my shop. It is so big. So I'll try to do the best job I can getting it into my video picture, but wow. Well, here is this amazing machine fresh out of the box. I broke my thumb a few months ago and it's hard for me to handle it because it's so heavy. In the box was the remote. This package here, which I assume is a cap for the back, and this accessory package, which has got looks like a USB drive and some light lenses, a bottle, a USB cord. I'm sure that's the manual, the complete manual on that USB drive. So I'll go ahead and get these things unpacked, and then we'll take a look at this thing. Well, the contents of the package, there's a oil bottle, there's a USB cord which I assume will plug into the radio here, not for charging because it uses standard AA batteries, but I assume you can probably program it. It has a touch screen for programming. I don't know exactly why you'd need that. This is a piece of plastic for the sunroof on the cab. These were rattling around inside, and it looks like that's a screen that fits in here, and this snaps in to hold it. I think it just came loose in shipping. I've got some rear view mirrors. There's a bolt and a spacer here that hold this rod in, this hydraulic rod. 3 extra track links, super heavy duty, can't imagine why you'd ever need those. Some rear view mirrors with the little brackets, a spare set of hinges, and I say spare because they came already mounted on this cover, decal sheet, a couple of picture sheets of how to put the cover on, and a very useless quick start guide that doesn't say anything except add oil and connect battery. I went on RC4WD's website and printed off a much better set of instructions that they have on there. So my goal with this video is to get this up and running, adjust the controls like my customer wants it so it operates exactly the same as his real cat excavator, and add the lights. And then in the second part I will add the sound system. So that's what I'm going to get doing, and you know, I obviously want to just kind of inspect it and see what makes it tick. You know me, I love to open things up and look at them, so I'll try and show you how everything fits together. Lots of videos of this operating, but I've never seen a really good video where they tear into it or modify it. So that's my goal here today. Well, the first item to set up is this hydraulic cylinder on the arm is not hooked up. It's got a bushing here that slides through. And then this bolt holds it. Use a little bit of Loctite. All the screws are metric Allen heads, so a good set of metric Allen head wrenches are appropriate to work on this rig. So that's basically the only setup. A lot of these small parts, one of them was the mirrors, which are just these pieces here and a little mirror, and then they snap on like that. They don't hold very solidly, so a drop of super glue on, I'll probably put a drop of super glue on those corners. Well, one goes here and one goes on the railing on the other side. So now my project is to remove this back cap and fill it with oil. While not necessary to remove this cover to put oil in it, the oil fill is right here. I wanted to kind of take a look at it inside because I'm going to be working on it. Now, it came without oil in it, but obviously it's had oil in it for testing. So they tell you to fill the tank about halfway. Over here we've got the speed control for the, wow, that is a big brushless motor, our oil pump, transfer block, the servos that operate the oil pump switches. There's two speed controls down in here for the track and one more speed control for the rotation motor, which is right here. The quality construction is superb. It really is. Everything is nicely bundled, tied down great. Really, really, really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put oil in it, and we'll put a battery in it and see what we've got. So I filled it with hydraulic fluid, and I used a stick with a pencil line on it just to get my depth correct. So now it's basically, according to the instructions, plug in the battery and turn it on. So I will do that. Okay, added a bit of fluid. Again, we'll turn on the hydraulic pump, arm, bucket. The response is excellent. Forward, reverse, rotate. Now, the problem is the controls. You can see we've got up and down on the main arm, up and down on this arm, and then the bucket here, and the rotation here. But on the real machine, the controls are not that way. And the customer I'm doing this for sent me a video of his actual excavator in operation, so I can make the controls match. That way the operator can hop out of the real machine and work the model, or vice versa, and the grandkids can learn to drive this and then hop it in the real machine and it'll work. So he sent me a quick little video of that machine in operation, which I'm going to insert here in my video, and then I'll come back and we will change these controls to operate like the real thing. Okay, here you go. Left hand swings left,
swings right, push it, makes that boom go out, makes that boom come in when you pull it. Push, out, pull, in. Right swing, left swing. That's the left hand. Right hand, pull is the close boom, push down, far boom, curl the bucket, in and out. Right hand curls the bucket and runs the close boom. Left hand swings the machine and runs the far boom. There you go.
So after watching that little video, got my 2 sticks on my controller. So this stick on the left is going to be rotation. This is going to be the forward boom. This is going to be the aft boom. And this is going to be the bucket. Alright, so this radio has a great feature. You can swipe the screen left and you can see what each stick is doing by the bar moving across the screen. So we can see that channel 1 is our bucket. So I can just mark that down here, channel 1. And then our boom is channel 2. And then our rotation here is channel 4. So that leaves channel 3 for the forward boom. So what I'm going to do is unplug the servo plugs from the receiver and plug them back in this order. And that'll give me the correct orientation for the real machine. Well, I know this is hard to see, but the way this is set up right now, the rotation is on the left stick. We want to move it to the right, and the bucket is on the right stick. We want to move to the left. So basically we just have to swap channel 4 and channel 1 plugs. The nice part about that is I don't have to trace a bunch of wiring back. All I have to do is unplug channel 1 and channel 4 from the receiver, reverse them and plug them back in. It's really kind of a tight fit in here, so I'm going to just do that off camera and then we'll see what we got. Okay, I took the receiver, changed the plugs. Now I have my rotation on the left stick, like it's supposed to be. The forward boom, turn the pump on here. Forward boom out, forward boom back. And then the aft boom, back and forward. And then the bucket. Now the only thing is the bucket here is backwards. They want it to be dumped that direction. So I need to reverse it. Turn the pump off here, unplug the machine. I'll just show you how to reverse it. I'm going to do a close-up here. On this radio, to reverse the servo, you just push this, type reverse. Remember our bucket's channel 1. So we click reverse, go back to the main menu, plug the machine in again. My servo, or get my camera back here. Now I should be able to turn the pump on, and now dump and scoop, correct direction. So now I've got all my controls hooked up correct to the real prototype machine. Of course, forward and reverse right here on these. There we go. At the very end of that last segment, right before I unplugged this, the left track was kind of going off all by itself, and I fixed that. And now it drives perfectly. These little controls up here work it. They're just on-off, so it only has one speed. Forward and reverse, forward on each track, or you can reverse the track. It's It's actually pretty simple, and I think excavators, they don't use the tracks as much as, say, a bulldozer. But I discovered that the transmitter was defective, and I'm going to show you how I figured that out, because it's just good information to know. So here's two transmitters. This is the transmitter that originally came with a unit, and this is the one I replaced it with, same model and everything. I also have a couple bulldozers that I'm doing, and I just used one of the bulldozer transmitters, rebound it to this machine. But the track was going off by itself and wouldn't shut off. So here, this radio has a monitor feature where you can turn on a monitor to see what every channel's doing. And the tracks were on channel 9 and 10. And you can see here that channel 10 is centered. And if I move this little wheel, you'll notice that go forward and reverse and goes back to center. But on channel 9, it doesn't go back to center. So there's something wrong with the pot inside the transmitter, and I contacted RC4WD, and I'm sure they'll take care of it. But a weird little anomaly that sometimes it's hard to figure that out, but with these monitor features on these transmitters, you can really see what's going on, and a useful feature. Okay, so now I'm going to install lights. So I've got a nice supply of 5mm high intensity LED lights, and I'll start working on the lights on this machine. So my bench looks a little bit messy, but it's a function of how heavy this thing is. This is the back plate. I had to pull it off to get the lights in it. Just this back plate weighs 6.5 pounds. It's set up for lighting, so these 5mm LEDs just drop in, and it came with red lenses for the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and mount those lights in there. And then the lights for the arm, what I did was extended the wires and then covered them with a piece of long piece of shrink tube. So they will mount up in this arm and clip into these clips along with the hydraulics, and everything should match pretty good. I'll show that when I install them. Right now I'm going to go ahead, get the lights in this back piece, and then try and figure out how to get this front cover up. Most of them are bolts up underneath. So I move this over the edge of the bench, turn it until I can get access to the bolt heads, and which is a little tricky actually. So I got to get that cover out because there's a light here, and the only way I can get it is if I remove this. Well, I got these panels off. They just fit like this, and they're bolted up from underneath. Everything's metal, really heavy and heavy duty. This panel had 4 bolts, and then this arm held it in. So the light just fits in behind here, and I'm going to use hot glue to hold it in, and I'm going to use hot glue to hold these wires down so there's no chance of them getting tangled in this brushless motor that works the pump. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and then in the next video I do on this, I'm going to be installing sound, and I've decided that there's room for the speaker right here, which will put it behind this panel, and then the soundboard will go over by the receiver. So I'm going to go ahead, attach this down, and then we'll flip around and do the cab side. Just an interesting little note. This thing's so heavy, I have to slide it over to the edge of my bench so I can get up underneath it to work on it. Plus I can't tip it upside down or even tip it way over because hydraulic fluid will leak out. So it's actually a lot more like working on a real excavator than some of the models I've worked on. The cab just popped off with 2 bolts from underneath, and so I've got my wire in here. But I decided this beautiful seat that needed a little extra detailing, so while I had it off, this is just held on with 2 bolts from underneath. The seat's cast metal. Matter of fact, I haven't found anything on here that isn't metal. Everything's metal. The only plastic pieces that I've seen so far are the clear windows, but man, this thing is really nice. This cab weighs 3.5 pounds just by itself. So Beautiful heavy pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do a little painting on this just to add a little extra life to it, and then I'm going to maybe see about a driver figure. I did a little extra detailing on the seat, just the buttons and the levers. I took a Tamiya semi-truck driver, and you can see the arms are, I had to splay them out a little bit. I will put some sculpting putty in there, and he actually fits in there really good. It's just so open, and you can see in so well that it just really needs a driver. It just doesn't look right without it. So we'll get him painted up, and I can put him in later, so I can go ahead and put the cab back in and get the lights buttoned up. Okay, got the lights in the body. Now up here in these spotlights, there's a little hole in the top which perfectly fit a small grub screw, so I can just tighten that in. And then this clamp right here I can just loosen up, put my shrink wrap in it. Now I'm going to want to tie this here, and I don't really want to use a tie wrap. I think I'm going to use some stainless steel wire to tie it together up here. And then we'll go through the next clamp down and so on, and run those down in the body. As you can see, I've got the lights in. Now, I just temporarily hooked the lights directly to the receiver, so they're just on whenever you plug in the battery. I'm going to run those through the sound system when I install the sound system. But one more thing I want to do before that is, on the excavator, nothing works unless you have the pump on. So I thought it would be a good idea to do some mixing, so that the arm and the boom and the bucket would actually work without flipping the pump on. It won't work quite as well as with the pump on, but if you're driving and you want to move the arm or something, you don't have to turn the pump on, which would save a lot of battery draw. So I'm going to do a little close-up and show how I do that. Okay, in order to do that, I need to mix some of the channels together. So right now my boom is on channel 2, my bucket's on channel 1, and my arm is on channel 3. And I verified that by looking at this menu. So for example, I can do the bucket and you can see channel 1 moving, and the arm on channel or the boom on channel 2. So here's the way to do a mix. So on this transmitter, I'm going to go to mix, and I've already actually set up mix number 1, which mixes channel 2, which is the boom, to channel 5, which is the pump motor. Okay, so with that turned on, and then I've got a 0 offset and negative 100 and positive 100. So what that'll do is when I move channel 2, it will turn on channel 5, which is the pump. So I just turned that on, so I can go back to the menu, and I'm going to zoom back out here. I can do it this way. Okay, so now when I move this, you can see you can hear the pump come on. Now there is a little delay, but I don't have to leave the pump on all the time. Now I can still turn the pump on. So if you're doing some heavy-duty excavating, you would just turn the pump on. But if you're just driving and you want to lift the arm or something, you don't need to leave that pump on all the time. So I'm going to set up those other 2 mixes, and I'll show you one of them. Okay, to set up a mix, we're just going to go here. We're going to go down to mix. We're going to go to mix number 2. So we're going to set up another mix. Click the check button. We're going to turn it on. Okay, and this time we're going to mix channel 1, which is the bucket, to channel 5, which is the pump motor. Okay. So we're mixing channel 1 to channel 5, and then we're going to go down here and we're going to do a negative 100% and a positive 100%. I'll do those off camera. Okay, so I've mixed number 2 done. I've done channel 1, which is the bucket, to channel 5, which is the pump motor, negative to 100%. Zip the camera back here again. So now I should be able to move my bucket and the pump will come on. Again, I can turn the pump on, or I could turn it off, which is just kind of a handy thing, and keeps the battery from running down. So I'm going to do the last one, which is the arm, and then I'll be just about done with this segment. Okay, so one of the final things I did was paint that driver figure. I modified his arms to fit the controls, and he looks really good in the cab. So that pretty much finishes this up. I'll get a few pictures here. Okay, so there's the excavator. As you can see, I've got the headlights working. The boom lights are working. And I did some programming so that it operates like the real machine. I also did programming so you don't have to run the pump all the time, although you can. Everything works really nice. This is a fantastic piece of equipment. So that pretty much does it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to install a speaker and a beer sound system. We'll finish the lighting and get a few other details done. But yeah, really neat machine from RC4WD drive. Amazing quality. I've seen lots of videos of this running and digging dirt, but I've never really seen where it's been opened up like this. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. I also have one of their big bulldozers, and that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. So thanks again for watching.